be honest with you, McGinley, I don't like the live intros because the music just cuts off instead of like rolling through the start as it usually does. So it's actually quite off-putting. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the podcast. Welcome to episode number 56 of the Sellik, the Thunder. And for the first time in a long, long time, it's live and it's also, McGinley, the phone in. You've been doing a lot of preparation for me today, McGinley. I gave you the role as executive producer, if you like. I let you organise the calls for this evening's show. Did you have fun doing so? How are you doing? And are you happy to be doing a phone in once more, mate?
Yes to all of those questions you just asked me. I was assistant to the regional manager today. I was so happy to do that job. It was nice just talking to people in the message requests as well. It's good to get so many people involved. But I'm looking forward to it.
It's quite momentous to bring this back. It's something I've wanted to do for a long time. In fact, I'll cast your memory back, McGinley. The last time that we did one of these phone-ins, it was actually to react to Ange Postecoglou becoming Celtic manager, which seems an eternity ago. We had fans on then, we had viewers on, our listeners on then to talk about everything. And it was a bit of a sort of weird situation the club found itself in, and now we fast forward to the nearly April of 2022, and who could have thought that the next phone in that we were doing would be sitting in this situation, McGinley?
It's great, mate. Who would have thought? Not me, that's for sure. I'm trying to do that thing from Hot Ones, Paul Rudd. I'm absolutely delighted with the way it's going just now, and hopefully we'll get. I'm thinking we'll get positive calls. They'll certainly be more positive than they were the last time we done this. When I'm really better state, you would say.
Yeah, so we've got a first call in about, I think, 5 or 10 minutes time. We're going to have 6 different callers on tonight. We're also waiting for the arrival of Callum Craig. He says he'll be 2 moments. His laptop was out of charge when he opened it up. So we are, if you're wondering where the third man is, that's where he is. So we'll have a bit of chat amongst ourselves before we get the first caller on. Thank you to everybody who's in the chat, by the way, who's tuning in for this live phone in. We are going to be building up that derby. Some good friends of the channel in here. So many different people. Hello to everybody watching. Papa McGinley, Ali. I like that comment from Alex. That's really nice. But McGinley, I've got to ask you before we go any further, because it wouldn't be right. It's episode 56, which obviously means, and thank you very much for the donation. If you want to donate, you can as well. But I've got to ask you, famous number 50, or should I say famous, number 56s that have played for Celtic, can you name any? There's surely one that pops off straight away.
Tony Ralston.
Tony Ralston, there you go. There's the first obvious one. Now, very quickly, there is 2 more. One that I have never heard of. But there is 2 more. One played for us between 2010 to 2015. He was part of a set of twins, actually.
Is this Patrick? No, is it Patrick or Philip Twardzik? One of the two.
It's Philip. Philip's the other one.
Patrick never played for us. It was only Philip who played first year.
And then finally, the last one, I don't even have clues to give you. He played for us in the 06-07 season. His name is Elmar Bjarnason. Never ever heard
Eddie
of him.
Bjarnason.
Is that who it is? Never heard of him, mate.
He's a trivia name. He's one of these trivia names.
Very, very much before my time. I might be showing my age there. I might also be getting slagged for not knowing who it is, but I do not have a clue.
You get bullied in the comments. I'm taking this off.
You're stripping on camera, are you? You've got to hold the fucking bus, right? You've got a jumper on and you've got a quarter-zip on. How cold are you in that house?
It was snowing like an hour ago.
I would hardly call it snow. I'll say it was fucking tiny.
It's falling from the sky. It's no dandruff.
God's dandruff, that's what I call it. Right, McGinley, let's talk about the real thing. Let's talk about what is the big topic for this week and what the big topic for this phone-in is this evening. It is the derby. On Sunday, we're almost there. We've been building very, very much towards it with excitement, with a little bit of anxiety as usual as well, but I think excitement is the main word, Ryan. There's going to be so much to cover. I'm sure every one of our callers will bring up different sort of situations. We'll also keep the chat involved as well. But overall, Ryan, how are you feeling going into this game on Sunday?
I think I'm a wee bit more nervous now that the international break's done, because we were, some people were focusing on the Scotland games. They were like, oh, we've got that to think about. But now that they're over, it's only like, is it 4 days away? Because it's today's Wednesday. Yeah, 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. I'm only going to get more and more nervous as the day goes on. I'm one of these guys that I do enjoy the game when it's on, but the build up to it is just I'm a nervous wreck, just because of how big
Yeah,
the game is.
it's obviously every time you go into one with a different approach, don't you? You know, every game has its own story. This time there's a chance to go six clear. There's a real scenario where Celtic can make this title. They can kind of put one hand on the trophy, if you like. Now, I'm never going to come out and say that if we win this game, we win the league. But I will certainly say this. I think if we do win this game, it's sort of our title to lose, McGinley. I think that you put yourself in a really strong position. You're 6 points clear. You only need to play Rangers one more time. And this is a Celtic side. I don't want to touch wood. I don't see collapsing. I see it's a really mentally strong Celtic side. So suddenly you go to Ibrox, you win that game, and it becomes a really exciting time to be a Celtic fan heading into the split.
Yeah, I would say just now though the title is ours to lose. I mean, we're 3 points clear, 4 points if you count the goal difference. I mean, we're in a really, really good position. If you were to ask a Celtic fan and Rangers fan what position you would rather be in, you'd much rather be in Celtic's position than Rangers at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, if we win this game on Sunday, 6 points plus the goal difference, you've got to think if we win the game, obviously the goal difference will improve by at least 2. So you're in a really, really good spot. I think if we win the league, if we
win the league, Christ, ahead of yourself a wee bit.
If we win the game on Sunday, I think the league's won. I don't see them coming back.
Wow. Okay, McGinley with the first bold statement.
It's bold, but at the same time, I see them cracking if we win. It's so big for what you call it, for motivation and sort of momentum.
Yeah, and listen, I'm going to bring in the caller in a moment, even though Callum's still not here. We'll get him in, don't worry, we will get Callum in, we will speak to Callum. I don't know what the situation is with him right now. I'm going to get the caller in a moment, the first caller, Sean. But before we do that, you've made a really big point there, McGinley. You've talked about them cracking. Now, I said something on my previous video on the channel, or one of my most recent videos, I should say, and I raised this point that, you know, Rangers, as of the last few years, have been pretty much infamous for cracking under pressure. You take away that COVID season, you take away the stadium with no fans in the stadiums, etc. They haven't dealt with pressure really well, and yeah, they might be doing well in Europe, and props to them for that. Take that aside for a moment. You're talking domestically. They have fell under the sort of pressure, haven't they? They have struggled to keep up with that. And Celtic have a massive chance to not only apply the pressure, I think, in terms of the league title, Ryan, but in that game alone, you know, if we get on their backs early and we can find the net, like we did on February 2nd, really early on in the game, you suddenly turn Ibrox into a cesspit.
Yeah, that's the thing you want to do. I know there's only 700 of our fans going. You want to turn their crowd against them early doors. If we get an early goal, the thing that I'm thinking is that Rangers will have to come out and attack because they need to win this game at the end of the day. Their only other favourite, well, apart from the other games, they've got to go to Celtic Park and they wouldn't be fancying that anyway. So they need to come out and attack, which suits us, which suits our style of play because we'll hit them on the counter. And if we get a couple of goals early doors, it could be curtains for their title challenge.
Yeah, okay, right, let's bring in our first caller of the evening. We're going to bring in Sean, who is the first person on of the call. And Sean, how you doing, my man?
I'm good. It's times like this I wish I was a wee bit more patriotic. For the past 2 weeks I've just had to watch Scotland and just, it's like you said in your channel all day, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. There Celtic win a coin toss and Scotland win the World Cup, if I'm honest. So it's been good obviously seeing them, but no really. You're looking at that for a wee bit of entertainment, and then obviously they're up in 2 games and they draw the 2 of them. It's not really the best watch, man.
Yep. It's difficult to get into it as much as the club football. McGinley, I'll come to you very quickly because I haven't really spoke to you about that. You happy with what happened with Scotland over the international break? I take it the whole Callum McGregor not starting yesterday was a positive at least. Just very quickly before we go into the call.
That was a positive not seeing him yesterday, but when it comes to Scotland, that's bad habits creeping in. With regards to, I know the penalty wasn't a penalty, and for when did we play that game? Was that Friday night or Thursday night?
Oh God, I don't know. I don't care.
The international break is just one big day rolled into one, honestly. But to be up in 2 games and to draw them both, you don't want that sort of those sort of habits creeping in when you still get the game against Ukraine to play. We've just got to assume that game is going to get played at some point. So it was 2 winnable games that we drew, which is disappointing, I would say.
Right, Sean, let's talk about the real team, the team that matter. Let's talk about Celtic. What do you want to talk to us about this evening? Anything in particular relating to Sunday? Anything at all? Speak your mind, mate.
I'd just like to talk about, in my opinion, just the sheer importance of Giakoumakis for this game. I just think that the amount of kind of pressure that's been on him lately, especially with his comments after the Dundee game that everyone kind of thought were a bit controversial, and I didn't really agree with myself. There's been a lot of pressure on them, but since then, I think he's played something like 270 minutes, and he's got 5 goals in that, which is working out to roughly 55 minutes per goal. In my opinion, regardless of where Kyogo's in the squad or not, I think he's got to start. I just think he gives us a presence that at Ibrox will be absolutely key. Just him just throwing about their back line and just causing problems will be absolutely key for us, in my opinion. And it's like you said, we get in that early goal, you know, if we get that early goal, it turns Ibrox into a toxic place, not just for Celtic, but for Rangers as well, because their crowd, you know, it turns on them really quickly. And if we can go into half-time with a maybe 2-goal lead or something, when they come out at half-time, the pressure's on them, and I don't think they can mount it.
Yeah, McGinley, let's bring you in here because I've spoke to death about Giakoumakis over the past sort of few days. I made a video yesterday talking about my opinion as to whether or not him or Kyogo starts the game. What do you make of what Sean's saying there?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think regardless of Kyogo's fitness, Giakoumakis has got to start. He's been phenomenal since the turn of the year. I would even count him as a sort of January signing with the impact that he's made. It feels as if he's a January signing. I feel like we've got the real Giakoumakis in. Obviously, he's had his injuries. He had that penalty miss against Livingston, and then he missed a sitter about a minute later, which was an absolute nightmare. And then he obviously had the injury afterwards, which wasn't ideal. And he was in a bit of a weird place because a lot of fans had written him off. I wasn't going to go that far. I was concerned at the start that he'd made, but at the same time, I've just seen what Kieran said.
Go on.
The bounce game.
Aye, did he? Oh,
Aye.
God, that's the only time you're going to get a hat trick out of him.
Right,
But what you're saying, what you're saying, I think you're pretty much spot. Anything else you were saying there, Ryan? I did kind of cut you off with that Kieran comment.
Giakoumakis, he's got to start regardless. I think you've got to put the two of them, Giakoumakis and Maeda, have got to start because the partnership that those two are forming is really, really fruitful. It's looking like it can do damage in this league. And I'm just thinking with Maeda's pace and Giakoumakis' presence, it could be a recipe for disaster for Rangers.
Yeah, Sean, I'll bring you back in here, mate. Are you happy with the front three that played against Ross County to start this game, or would you maybe change it up? Would you bring Abada back into the team? God forbid, would you bring James Forrest into the team? What are you thinking in terms of to join Giakoumakis?
I would definitely not bring James Forrest in. Definitely not. I mean, if something was to maybe happen, Abada gets like taking out the squad, maybe because kind of an injury or something like that happens in the next 2 days, I'm not adverse to James Forrest maybe coming on late on the 70th minutes. I think that Livingston showed that there is a player in there somewhere. It's just it doesn't really come out too often. But just kind of looking at that squad that started against Ross County, if Kyogo is back in the squad for this game, our bench will have Beaton, Abada, Turnbull, O'Reilly, Ralston and Kyogo, which are all players that obviously if Kyogo started you would bat an eyelid because he's back, but if any of those players started you wouldn't really say, oh, something's happened here or one player isn't fully fit. And just like you were saying at the start of the kind of live, I think that the last time you done a call when you were reacting to Ange coming in, if you had to say to any of us that 6 players are going to be on the bench against Rangers and you can bring any of them on and they're all starting quality, I think you would bite their hand off. And just the position we're in now and when we came to the start of the season, everybody sounds like a broken record when you say it, but it needs to be talked about all the time because it's absolutely unreal what Ange has done with the entire squad. And I just really feel that squad that started against Ross County could completely go to Rangers, and it doesn't matter if Van Bronckhorst tells them to attack us and then suddenly everybody believes that we're going to be pinned back. I think that squad is very capable of going there, soaking up that pressure that they're applying to us, and we can go and we can still win that game comfortably.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. And it's crazy you bring up that. I was actually thinking about this earlier. You actually think about, you said the start of the season there, Sean, but you think about that last visit to Ibrox, how different the situation was compared to now. And you think about even the team. Edouard was still with us, wasn't he, when we played at Ibrox for talk's sake? Christie as well. You know, things have changed big time. So I think you've hit the nail on the head. Ryan, you got anything in response to that?
No, I'm quite confident. It really does show how far we've come, or how far we came with Ange Postecoglou, but how well we've improved as a team. That we're going into this game with a lot of confidence. There's a lot of stuff in the media saying that we're cocky in that. I don't think it is cockiness. I think it's just confidence that this team can do a job, that they're not going to get overwhelmed by the occasion. They're just going to treat it like it's their own. It's just another game, and they'll get the job done. And I'm fairly confident that they will get the job done.
Yeah. So, Sean, before I let you go and we get on to the next caller, I've got to ask the big question. I've got to ask for your predictions, your overall feeling as to where this game will go and what it means for the rest of our season. Feel free to take as long as you like, mate, but what are you thinking for Sunday?
I would say that even if Rangers managed to get the 3 points, I was watching Open Goal last night and Andy Halliday says that is title on, and I do agree that, I know it was a tough watch a wee bit, but Andy Halliday was saying it's a game on and kind of title races on again. Obviously, he'll say that, but I do think title races on, but I'm still confident, regardless of the outcome on Sunday, that we will win the league. I'm very confident in that. I've always been kind of confident in that ever since Ange just started kind of showing. It was around the time of the Aberdeen game away that Jota scored the winner that I thought something really special was happening with the squad. And it's just, I think if we get the 6 points or the 3 points to take us to 6 points, I do think that, in my opinion, that's the league over, because I really cannot see Rangers going to Parkhead and turning up and maybe taking 3 points off us. And then even at that, we'll need to lose another game and then they'll need to win a game. And then there's a goal difference. I just can't see us losing the games necessary and them winning the games necessary for that to happen. But it's just, with that point you were talking about, McGinley, saying that the media were saying that we were cocky. I really don't think that any Celtic fans saying that they believe we can go to Ibrox and leave with a comfortable win is cocky. I'm not saying it'll be easy by any stretch of the imagination. I think if you say it's easy and that's it, and because we beat them 3-0 at Parkhead, we can beat them there easily, is kind of, it's just, that has been a bit cocky. But to say that we can go there and get a decent win isn't really cocky, because, I mean, you look at the way we played against them in Parkhead, I mean, they absolutely folded. They completely crumbled. Ryan Kent just looked as if he wanted the full-time whistle to go so he could get to the cat house. It's just...
same as Ryan McGinley would have met him there, fuck's sake.
I was cuddling him that night with a pint of venom in hand.
Nah, but it's just, I'm very confident we'll win the league regardless of the outcome on Sunday. But if we win on Sunday, in my opinion, that just kind of closes that book even quicker than I thought it would have happened. And again, just if you'd tell us that we could go to Ibrox for the second time in the season and potentially, obviously, we're not winning the league there, but we could put one hand on the trophy, like you said, we could go there, I'd bite your hand off, because it's an absolutely unreal position to be in.
Well, I think that's everything that we needed. Billy, that's the next caller. Sean, you've been an absolute pleasure to have on, mate. Thanks very much for giving us your thoughts.
Right, cheers. See you later. Enjoy
have
Sunday.
A good night, mate. Yes, you too, sir. Enjoy the game. Right, okay, that's the first caller done. A very good opening call. A very confident Celtic fan to open this up this evening. Ryan McGinley, Christ, if I could get my words out, that would be handy. We have got our next caller, Billy, scheduled in to be joining us soon. He was down in the wee lobby. He's no longer in the wee lobby. I can't see him there, so we'll give him about 5 minutes or so to see if his name... There he is. He'll get him in a moment. But McGinley, your thoughts to Sean's call there. I think that he's spot on in saying, you know, there's a right to be confident as Celtic fans heading into this game. There's no reason why that we should feel guilty for saying that we look the better side, because quite frankly, we do look the better side right now.
I think this is a Scottish problem as well, though. It seems that any sort of confidence just gets shot down by the media, and you're supposed to be sort of modest about things. You can be modest, but still be confident at the same time. I'm confident in my team. If I wasn't confident in my team, what would be the point? I mean, I'm loving what I'm seeing at the moment this season. I'm thinking that we can go and do a job on them. And, do you know, the fans are allowed to be confident. We're allowed to dream about stuff. It's just a bit of a needless sort of reaction, I would say, in the media.
Right, okay, we're still, do you know what, it's actually, how long are we into the show? 20 minutes into the show, we're still not joined by Callum Craig. I don't know
he can't find his charger.
He can't find his charger? Well, that is just...
his laptop charger.
That is just nightmare material. I don't know if we'll ever see him tonight then, but if we don't, we don't, we do, we do. We could do this anyway, McGinley, you know, just the two of us, as your man Bill Withers would say. Right, let's get our next caller in to make it free, people. Let's get Billy on the calls now. Billy, mate, how you doing?
I'm pretty good.
Nice to see you, mate. Let's just start it off with the same question I gave to Sean. How are you feeling towards Sunday? What's your thoughts? And are you excited for what could be a kind of title-deciding game?
I'm very looking forward to it. To be honest, I'm extremely confident.
Let's see. Let's just take it to yourself. What do you want to talk about? Give us something that you think that has to be spoke about heading into that game, or anything at all that's just Celtic related, really.
Sorry, I'm eating. I think we've got every possibility of going on there and doing what we did last time out at Celtic Park and putting on another show, like an easy victory. But then again, we've had that time off due to the international break, so our form could have dropped a bit.
McGinley, let's talk about that. What do we have to do this time? It's a completely different animal going to Ibrox, and obviously Billy's raised a point here and saying that, you know, we can do similar, we can get the same sort of result here. Is it about taking the same approach to the game, or do you expect Rangers to be sort of more up for this than what they were the last time?
I expect the best form of Rangers, if I'm being honest. Simply due to the fact that they have to come out and play. I think the one thing we need to avoid is losing an early goal. Or if we lose an early goal, we can't let our heads go down. I don't think our heads will go down anyway. That's just the way that we play under Ange. But we can't lose an early couple of goals. We need to be in the game. We need to ride the storm maybe for the first 10, 15 minutes, because I do expect Rangers to come out all out attacking, and then we just need to hit them on the counter if possible. It's a weird one, because as much as I'd love to win the game, the way the game goes, a draw isn't an absolute disaster as well. But I'm absolutely desperate to win this one. But it's just all about the way the game goes. So I'll take it as it comes, really.
What about you, Billy? How do you think Rangers will approach this game? Do you think that it'll be different from what we've seen? You're obviously confident we can get the same sort of result, but do you think we are prepared to deal with maybe a different looking Rangers? Because they'll certainly have to change up something from last time, you'd think.
No, I agree. I think they are going to, in the opening minutes, come straight up with. But I think we've got all the capabilities to catch them on the counter with the pace that players like Jota and Maeda's got to abuse down the wings and get in the box to Giakoumakis, depending on what the lineup is.
Mm-hmm. And that's one thing that we didn't really speak about in great depth in the last call, guys. We never really spoke about the other two. We spoke about Giakoumakis in great depth, but Jota and Maeda, you were there at the Ross County game, Ryan. I never obviously got the opportunity because I was in Germany, I was in Berlin, so I never really got to see it. But how can those two change this game for us, Ryan? Because those two, they were once again vital to what we done against Ross County. Yeah,
the 20 minutes, the opening 20 minutes I watched of Jota, I was like, if we sign this guy for $6 million, it's an absolute bargain. Like, we should be paying double the amount. The way he was just gliding past people, beating players, putting a great cross in for Giakoumakis. And to be fair, Maeda had, I think, his best game at Celtic against Ross County as well. It was just a winger's masterclass. Maeda really looks comfortable with quite a number of players. I think him and Greg Taylor are forming a really nice partnership as well. I've seen that getting talked about. Between that and Maeda and Hatate are actually, they're looking up and looking out for each other to see if they can pass each other. I'm liking this wee partnership that the two of them are forming. Mm-hmm. So that's great that sort of that relationship is forming. But I think those would be the standout sort of candidates to start on Sunday. Those are the two that I would go with, because why change something that isn't broken? Why break something that isn't broken? Is that the right?
Why fix what's not broken? I don't know. You've mangled that brain here.
It's not broke, so don't fix it.
That's it. That's the saying right there. Right, Billy, got to ask you. Is there anything else, first of all, that you'd want to bring up before I go into the big prediction sort of thing? Anything at all?
I was thinking of questions that I could ask last night, and I came to the conclusion. Do you think Turnbull and Kyogo will get back into the team playing on a consistent basis, like towards the end of the season after the derby, considering how well Giakoumakis and the midfield's been playing over the last few weeks?
It's a really good question, actually, because it's one that I think we've spoke about Kyogo in great depth. I think everybody's considered him as being someone to walk right back into this team at some point. But Turnbull hasn't really been spoken about as much. You know, we've been living up this dream of O'Reilly, Rogic, Hatate, you know, Callum McGregor. We've got a fantastic bunch of midfielders. Then there's all the chat, of course, of the boy for Bayern Munich coming over, Christopher Scott. You know, there's so much great quality in that midfield that it makes it a really difficult situation. I do believe that Turnbull will get back into this team. He will be used. He will be used well. He'll be used, I think, as effectively as he was before, but at the right moments. McGinley, I don't know. You were a massive Turnbull fan. I think at one point he was your favourite player in the team. In fact, what do you think about Turnbull getting back into the team?
He was the bright spot in a really, really bad season last season. And I think with the more games that he played under Ange, the better he was getting. He became a 90-minute player because he was only playing 60, 70 minutes under Lennon and Kennedy. So once he started playing 90 minutes, he became better and better. I think out of the two of them, I think Hugo will get back in the team quicker than Turnbull, but I think there will be a spot for Turnbull too. Just with the rotation in the squad, it'll be great for to have somebody to rotate with Hatate, because I think Hatate and Turnbull play in the same area. Or they're all interchangeable, so we can basically choose where they want to play. But I think they'll definitely all get game time, and that's the beauty of squad depth at the end of the day.
Yeah, it makes a massive difference having those players there. Right, I've got to ask you, Billy, predictions, thoughts, final score, whatever you want for Sunday. Let us know to end off your sort of call, mate. What are you thinking for the game?
I think we're going to have a comfortable 2-0 win with Jack Marcus and Jota getting on the score sheet.
Very nice. You've got to have Big GG on there. And before I let you go as well, I've got to ask, because it's the question in the chat. Everybody's wanting to know, what is it you're having to eat, mate? What are you scranning?
Oh, just having some chips.
Just chips. I was hoping it would be more exciting. I was expecting something quite extravagant, but just chips is fine, I suppose. Listen, Billy, really appreciate your call, mate. Thanks for coming on tonight, and I hope you enjoy the game on Sunday, mate.
Thank you.
Right, see you after. There we go. Second caller. Fantastic stuff. Let's bring up one of the comments from the chat before we get our next caller on, because we've got a fantastic donation from Paul here. $8.99, by the way. Christ, that'll buy you a lot of chips if you want, Billy. Let's talk about it. Front three on Sunday has to be Jota, Giakoumakis and Maida, and we need to win the midfield battle. Think our press from the front and pace going forward will be too much for them to deal with. I'm going for 3-1 with a Giakoumakis double. I think that seems to be the popular front three at the moment, Ryan. And before we do bring in this next caller, I think that one thing that we haven't really considered is, and I don't know if this is just me, so feel free to interrupt or feel free to tell me to shut up, but I think that if you said 3 weeks ago that the preferred front three would have been that, I don't think that would have been the preferred front three, because there were so many people on Maida's back, and I think there were so many people as well who are even still on Giakoumakis' back at that point. I think time has really, really done a lot for players like those two.
Yeah, I think the fact that they were all playing without having to worry about going on an international break, they had a good 6, 7, 8 games to play in a row. It's really brought out the best in some players. I think the turnaround in Maida's game has been phenomenal, because I thought there was games against Hibs and Aberdeen that he really did struggle, but I think ever since we put him out on the left, he's a different beast altogether. His pace is just there. I mean, the fullbacks aren't up. A lot of the fullbacks aren't up to much in Scotland, so he can just run past them and absolutely dominate them. So it's great to see him doing so well. And Giakoumakis, once he's scored one, he's not stopped scoring. It's been absolutely brilliant watching him flourish in this team. And the wee changes that Ange has made to his sort of position has made all the difference, I think, because he's doing all the stuff that he's comfortable doing and everybody else is doing the passing and pressing. So that's really helped the team.
Yeah, and thanks very much once again to Paul for the donation. If you do want to get your comment guaranteed on screen, you do want to donate anything for the podcast, the sake of the podcast, then feel free to, do it through the super chat section of the show. Let's bring in our next caller then. I believe we've got Kieran, who should be in the 8 o'clock slot. Kieran, that should be you with us. How you doing, mate?
Hiya, not too bad. How are you?
There he is. Got you there now. Not bad, mate. Good to have you on. I'll just open the floor to you, mate. Is there anything you want to talk about in particular to do with Celtic Football Club at this moment in time?
Well, it's about Sunday as well. It's just to see what midfield three you would have. Would you stick with the same midfield three as last game, or swap it up a bit and bring Rogic in, or what would you set up like?
well, I am a big Rogic fan. So
Other
I am very inclined to once you mentioned his name there, Kieran, I was really like, yeah, you know what, maybe bring Rogic in. McGinley, I'll let you kickstart it because you're a big fan of that midfield. What are you thinking?
It's weird to say change it because Rogic was actually starting for against Ross County. He was the one that was brought off injured. It's weird to even think that because
That's
Matt
right,
O'Reilly
aye.
played the majority of the game. But I mean, you know me. You know I'm a Matt O'Reilly fan. Matt O'Reilly is in my
It's
start
like,
11.
do you know what I like about this? Like, since Matt O'Reilly has signed, I feel like there's been a nice wee dynamic where you've been like a big fan of O'Reilly and I'm just a big fan of Rogic. So there's a nice wee kind of split there. And not that I don't like O'Reilly.
And I'm a Rogic fan too. It's just so
Ah.
great to have a mini Rogic, like a younger version of Rogic.
Yeah.
That's getting called up by Denmark. The thing is, he's 21. He's only going to get better as well. He really, really excites me as a player, and as a person. He's quite handsome. So,
Oh, nice. Just to reveal your fucking tendencies on screen. So what you think if you're free then,
That's a
Mike?
joke,
Like,
really.
what's your free?
My three is now I've been kind of toing and froing with Beaton, but I'm going to go McGregor, Hatate, O'Reilly. I think that's our best
Okay.
midfield three.
Right, I'll come at you then, Kieran. What you thinking? Do you agree with Ryan or do you change that midfield three and give us your reasons for the three that you would pick?
That's the exact same three as like I would pick as well, just because of the work rates they've all got. I don't think Rogic can offer much defensively. I think the other three that I've just mentioned there can go defensively or they can go offensively as well. So they offer like a bit of both in a sense. I'd bring Rogic off from the bench though.
Yeah, I felt like a lot of people. I've seen a couple of people in the chat saying about Rogic being injured. Is there any confirmation as to whether or not he will be
Medium-term
available?
injury, so he was a doubt for this game.
Is he a doubt? Well, if he's a doubt, then sadly,
So then I
won't
wouldn't
have
bring him off the bench.
Just leave the risk. Just leave the risk out.
Handy.
What is it you said? Sorry, McGinley.
You get Turnbull that can bring him off the bench, so that's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, that's right. Kieran, what's your thoughts on that, mate? Would you bring? We spoke about him on the last call. You said you'd maybe bring on Rogic if you could. Would you bring on maybe Turnbull? Would you let him return in this game, or does the magnitude mean that you would rather see him come back at maybe a future date?
Depending on the score, I think if we're winning comfortably, I wouldn't risk it just because he's just came back. But if we're like searching for that winner, I'd maybe bring him on because he can offer goals as we've seen throughout the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the thing about Turnbull. He can create and he can score, can't he? And that's the sort of player you have there. And I know that a lot of people always make the joke, and I say make the joke. We do struggle from set pieces, but you've got Turnbull who has got a history with set pieces as well. So you've got a player in there who can maybe make a difference if need be, or if we leave it more till it's more comfortable. That's the case.
Yeah, a guy with fire in his belly as well because he had a bit of a dreadful performance at Ibrox earlier on in the season, so he'd be wanting to make amends for that.
Yeah. Right, Kieran. Anything else at all that you want to bring up?
Who would you play on the right wing? Abada or Maida?
So that's we kind of covered that, didn't we, McGinley? I think let's talk about Abada. Because
Yeah,
Abada,
I personally like Abada.
You going for Abada, Kieran? Now you're going Abada.
Yeah.
So I think the two of us, we said Maida, the Maida Jota combination, didn't we, Ryan? And you'd imagine if those two were to play, you'd see a kind of rotation between each side, and the old Lenny flip the wing, or switch the wings, But Abada, do you feel harsh in any way, McGinley, for not starting Abada? Do you think that he's done enough to warrant a start in this game? Would it be harsh to maybe drop him, you say?
Are you meaning Maida or Abada?
Abada.
You see the way that Ange was talking about Abada a couple of weeks ago, he said he's probably played more games than he thought he would this season. So with regards to that, then I don't think it's as harsh. He would have known he'd be in and out the side this season. He was lucky in the fact that Forrest has been injured for so long that he was the only sort of player we had to play in that position. But I think Maida's got to start. Maida starts the press. Maida against Alan McGregor. I worry for Maida's safety if he does that, but at the same time, he'll definitely have a chance against them.
Let's, on that note, the fullbacks for Rangers, you look at James Tavernier on the right-hand side. You look at, you don't know, will Borna Barisic even play this game after his performance in the last derby? Let's come to you, Kieran, here. We have players who can really terrorise those fullbacks once more. Are you confident that these wingers are going to take the opportunity, Kieran, to kind of take the mickey out of these fullbacks again?
Well, after seeing Barisic's performance at Celtic Park, I'm pretty confident if he starts. And Tavernier's not that great defensively, personally. I think he's good going forward, and obviously you've seen that with his goals and assists, but I don't think he's the best fullback for defending. So I think we should take advantage of that as best as we can.
Yeah, I really want to see Barisic sitting down again, just like that first that game in February. You know, that was a really good meme for how it lived. Let's come on to the big question then, as we get to 10 past sort of 8. I've got to ask you, Kieran, as I ask everybody else, it's the way you kind of wrap up these calls, your predictions, your final thoughts, just kind of summarise it all, anything you want, mate, along with your score prediction.
Well, I've got 2 predictions. I
Two?
feel like it could be a 1 each draw, but I also feel like we could win 2-0. I feel like it could go either way. The closer it gets, the more confident I'll get.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? Like, some people get it all different, some people feel more confident in the day, some people feel more nervous on the day. So would you've given a draw and a win there, Kieran. Are you pretty, I don't want to use the word sure, but are you confident Celtic don't lose this game?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, I hope that doesn't come back to bite me, but yeah, I'm pretty confident.
That's nice. I like that. We've had a lot of confident fans on tonight. I'm enjoying this so far. I really am. Right, well, do you know what, Kieran? Thanks very much for joining us, mate. It is really
My
much
pleasure.
appreciated. Another great call. Enjoy the game on Sunday, however you watch it, and hopefully we're here for you once more in the future, mate.
Hopefully. Thanks for having me.
No worries, mate. Take care. Right, there we go. 3 calls down. 3 very confident calls so far, McGinley. Let's use this time to break it up a wee bit before we get into the next caller. Because there's so much. There's a lot of comments piling in as well. Thank you to the over 400 viewers at this moment in time. This will, if you've joined late, it will be available to watch later on in the channel. It'll also be available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the other podcast streaming services. Make sure to hit like and subscribe as well. Let's see, let's bring up a comment on screen to kind of chat about before we get our next caller on. Let's see, what's this? Let's bring this up. Liam, I understand the confidence because of how it went last time, but they're going to be so different to before. They won't sit off, they'll have a better lineup, and it's away. I just hope we are not naive. Naive's a big word, Ryan. Not a big word, quite. It's 5 letters, it's not that fucking big. But it's
as well.
It's a massive word, in terms of, how we talk about Celtic. Ange and this team, you're hoping, and I think they have shown us of late. Well, do you know what? Let's not be around the bush here, because I think naivety, you could say, came into the team a little bit when we played Bodo Klimt. I'm not going to sit here and pretend everything's okay, because, European football was a bit of a disappointment, and you could say we treated that game with a bit of naivety. So do you worry that maybe something like that happens again? We do go into this game maybe a little bit cocky, or do you trust that they've learned from mistakes, McGinley?
One thing that I don't worry about this team is that they're not prepared. I'm sure that Ange drills it into them. He even talks about not going into the dressing room before games. The tactics are already done. They're already drilled into him and into the players. Probably months ago, they probably know they have to play the same way every game, or else Ange will be absolutely raging with them. So I'm pretty sure they'll be well drilled for whatever comes at them. And that's so good. It's so good that they're not confused with anything. We'll just get an elite manager at the helm, in my opinion.
An elite manager, I love that. You've been seeing a lot of these videos popping up recently, like people analysing Postecoglou and getting brought up by a lot of English folk and that, and I'm sort of sitting thinking to myself, right, hands off, right, fuck off. You can go elsewhere, go and look elsewhere for your fucking managers, right? Don't analyse ours, just fuck off. Let's get on our next caller then, because time is marching on a little bit, and it is for our 10 past 8 slot, which is Aidan. So let's bring Aidan into the call. I hope he's there. How you doing, Aidan, mate?
I'm doing alright.
Alright,
That's too bad.
just a wee alright. I like that. Good start. I'll just do what I do with everybody else, mate. Anything in particular you want to speak about for this game?
Possibly the winging option. I know it's been talked about, but I feel like we have a bigger discussion to have about it.
Oh, a bigger discussion, right? Okay, on you go.
Because I think how many goal contributions I've had this season is staggering, to say the least, for a 19, 20-year-old for his first year in a club, and it's possibly a harder debate than anybody will make me out to be.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think, obviously we've touched on it a couple of times tonight, and I think, as I said in kind of the last call there, McGinley, it could be sort of harsh to suddenly just dismiss Abada. It does offer something that is, incredibly useful to Celtic. I mean, his goal contribution rate, as Aidan has touched on here, is kind of spot on. Aidan, he's been fantastic this season. He's probably up there for a player of the season shout as well. For you, does Abada then start for you on Sunday, would you say?
I would say aye, definitely. But I also feel harsh by leaving Maida.
So that's you drop Maida, yeah, you drop Maida. Cool. Well, let's talk about it a wee bit. Let's talk about it. McGinley, I'll come to you in a minute. We've touched on your opinions. What for you is the difference between Dyson Maida and Liel Abada? Like we've touched on who we prefer, but is there anything for any particular reason that makes you want to pick Maida more? Now, I think there's one thing. I see a really interesting comment that we can also come back to as well, but I'm not going to try and scroll for it. There was a very interesting comment about how Abada's just played, I think, 180 minutes of football for the Israel under-21s, whereas obviously Dyson Maida hasn't even. I don't think he went on international duty.
No, it was conditioning issues. Remember?
Yeah.
Basically, I think you could read between the lines and say he was knackered.
Yeah. So let's go back to that original question. However, what for you makes you want to pick Maida over Liel Abada, considering Liel Abada's had such a great season?
Maida knows the system better than Abada. It's as simple as that. Because he's worked under Ange before. Abada, at the start, I think he was a bit. He was a really good winger. You could tell he's a really good winger in the making, but he didn't play the way that Ange maybe wanted him to play. He was still getting used to that role. I still think he is getting used to that. I mean, but the goals and assists that he's provided this season, I think he's an absolute stick-on for Young Player of the Year. I think they should just give him the trophy just now. I mean, the numbers that he's done have been absolutely incredible, but Maida's pressing in an away game will be so important, I think. And I think both of them will play at certain points in this game. I think Abada is a phenomenal player to bring off the bench when their players are tired or tiring. A guy like him to come on and cause damage like he done in the previous game, I definitely think it's a possibility. But I would start the game with Maida. But there are arguments for both players, I would say.
Arguments for both, absolutely. I'll come back to you here, Aidan, and I'll open up the floor for maybe some debate. What do you think of? Would you agree with McGinley when he says that he understands the system better? Off your judgment this season, who do you think looks better on that side? Do you think there's much between the two of them?
I don't think there's much between them really. I would say probably Abada's a better goal scorer, but that's up for debate as well. But I can see where McGinley's coming through when he says that Maida knows the system better because obviously his time in Japan with Ange. So
yeah, very
interesting. I can see the argument.
Very interesting sort of thing to think about when there's someone there who's worked with him for so long in the past, and then somebody who's came up, and it was his first signing as well. Remember Abada? It was like he was the first guy through the door. So it's a guy that I'm hoping to see a lot of over the next few years at Celtic. Both of them, of course, but Abada especially being so young, and he's got such a big future. Anything else, Aidan, at all in relation to the game on Sunday that you'd like to speak about, or anything that doesn't even have to do with the game? It could be do anything at all.
I would probably say the benefit that we have, that I know it's a Celtic podcast now, but like Morelos being injured, I think it would ease the back line a bit better.
Yeah, keep going, mate. Sorry,
because we saw on the game February 2nd that Roof really didn't put up that much of a fight against Carter because our staff felt he completely strolled the game. And I just think it will be bread and butter again.
Yeah, we've not even touched on it, and you're completely right to bring it up. I wouldn't worry about it being a Celtic podcast. One of the main things we have to talk about is the opposition, and the opposition is, of course, one of the most important factors of this game. And Ryan, you're looking at Alfredo Morelos being out the game now. Granted, there is the running joke of Morelos not being great against Celtic until last season. You know, he hasn't netted in a stadium. Or has he? Did he score in that? Who scored in the first game? It wasn't him, was it?
No, it was Hollander.
Hollander, that's right. So he hasn't scored in front of a crowd against Celtic, but there still is major implications for Rangers that with him missing out in the game. You know, he's a kind of star guy. He's the striker, the one that scores the goals, and he's someone who, as Aidan has brought up here, has a big effect on defenders. I think a lot of people have pointed out in the chat that, you know, it's good for Starfelt, for example, that he's missing this game. You know, it might shake him up a little bit. But overall, Ryan, if Morelos does miss this game, if he is out for this game, how much of a positive is that for Celtic?
I'm in two minds because he's not really turned up against Celtic apart from last season when there was no fans, obviously. We need to talk about that again. But he is the focal point of their attack. He is the sort of guy that roughs people up. And you'd think if he was to get anyone, it'd be my man Starfelt that he would sort of rough up, because I don't think anyone's going to rough up Carter Vickers. That guy's never been scared in his life. It's just I'm kind of lost in my train of thought here. Morelos would be it'd be a blow for Rangers, but I think they've got more. I think they'll get better players than Morelos. I'm being honest.
Oh wow!
I think it'd be a bigger loss if they lost Aribo. I know he's not been on form, but he's the sort of player that can just click into form. Kent as well. I'd probably say Kent's a better player than Morelos, if I'm being honest.
Wow. Okay, big words from Ryan McGinley. Let's ask you the same question. Well, the same sort of along the same lines here.
It's not that I don't rate him as a player. I think he is a good player, but I think they've got better players.
Let's ask you this question, Aidan, mate. Who do you think who possesses the biggest threat for Rangers on Sunday? If Morelos isn't playing, who in that team worries you the most?
Probably Aribo, just because how creative he is. You saw it in the first half of the season, he was basically dragging them on his back through games. By creating the goals. And that, Aribo, that's it.
Nah, he is a good player, to be fair. He is a very good player. Right, listen, we'll ask you the last sort of question that I've asked everybody before we wrap up your call, mate. But your final predictions for the weekend, final thoughts, final score prediction, anything at all, Aidan, mate?
I would say 2-0 Celtic because I have a Mohawk riding on it.
Wait, so what is you've got a bet ticket going on here? Talk us through this. What's going on here?
So I've got a bet with one of my pals, basically my full family. I said if Celtic beat Rangers, I have to get a Mohawk. I'm going to do full Peter Wright style with the green, white, and orange on.
You better play rightful as well then.
Mate, listen. If this goes through, if Celtic win the game or whatever, and you are, if this game results in you getting a Mohawk, I fully expect to see photos on Twitter with the podcast tagged on it, because I want to see this. This could be, if it's Peter Wright style, this could be fucking big time. I want to see that, mate.
No the snake bite tattoo. That's a bit too far.
That would be a bit much.
Just the Mohawk.
Just the Mohawk. Mate, listen, honestly, all the best for Sunday. I hope to see you with a Mohawk, I must admit, but we'll wait and see what happens. Enjoy the game however you watch it, mate, and hopefully we hear again for you soon.
Used it. Cheers.
No worries, mate. Hey, there you go. First, I wasn't expecting to hear that this evening, McGinley. Let's have a wee bit of fun here. If you could, if we were to put a bet on, right? What would you wager me here? What would you want me to do? I remember, right, I'm going to take it back to when I was in Leverkusen. I put up a tweet before the game and I said, if Celtic beat Leverkusen tonight, I will get an Ange Postecoglou tattoo on my leg. And it was shout out to AJ Celtic, absolutely. I love the guys over at AJ Celtic, but they had a fantastic sticker of Ange Postecoglou, or they have a fantastic sticker, I should say. And it's Ange Postecoglou in Godfather style, saying the Ange boss. And I was going to get that exact sticker tattooed on my leg. So I'm suddenly sitting there with 10 minutes to go as Celtic are 2-1 up against Leverkusen, and I'm thinking to myself, oh Christ, I'm going to have to go and get an Ange Postecoglou tattoo when I'm up the road. But as history has it, we didn't win the game, and I remain tattooless for now. Hopefully I remain tattooless forever, but who knows, maybe in the future I'll need to wager a tattoo. But McGinley, if you were to offer me a bet of some sort heading into this game on Sunday, what would you try and wager me?
I've got to get you to the car house one way or the other. I've got to see that. I don't know what the other way would be with you, with me. I don't know, but just to see you in the cat house. I know you've only been in for like a grand total of like 40 seconds, but
Yes.
that's not something to be proud of, mate. You've got to stick in the whole time.
Scenes when it's like it hits 1 in the morning, I'm sitting there with a hand in the air, singing fucking "Welcome to the Black Parade," just screaming at the top of my lungs. Listen, I'm not knocking that. I love a wee bit of MCR, right? But I mean, I'm just, I couldn't imagine it in a million years of me in that situation.
It's a big thing on Friday night, by the way, because they're playing the whole of the Paramore's second album with Misery Business, Riot, the whole way through. That's on one room, and the other room's Hybrid Theory by, what's her name's, Linkin Park.
I take it you're going to be down there with bells on then.
Who?
I said,
I'm going to be there with bells on?
Aye.
Is that a theme or something?
Aye, it's just aye. Have you never heard aye with bells on? Have you never heard that?
I've heard it before. I think so. You just took me aback there. No, I'll be in the room that's in the Paramore songs. I can guarantee you that.
Aye, I'll look forward to your stories. Hopefully you make it home this time. Let's have a look through. Our next caller, who was meant to be on, I think at 20 past, hasn't actually shown up as of yet. So we'll kind of just go through the comments for now and see what's being said by everybody that is watching the show live. You're getting called a goth, McGinley. There you go. Stuart Miller's calling you a goth. I see David in the sort of lobby section now, so we'll get him in a moment. We'll go through a couple of these just now. Is there anything else? There's a lot of conversation going on about Celtic and Rangers. A bit of arguing about the two clubs as always. Froggy style says
see that I share a favourite night out for Frog.
Cat is easily the best. Are we a frog? Yes, mate. Have you kissed any frogs in the cat house?
I've not, mate. Not.
No, not yet.
No,
Look for your princess, mate.
That's it. My gothic princess. I'm looking for my Hayley Williams.
Like, if you could just picture it on Friday night, wee frog sitting there, you get a wee kiss. Boom.
I know who you are.
Let's see. Oh, yeah, this is one question before we get David on as our next caller. Mark has put in a good question. In the 700 fans, we've not really spoke about that. We've not really had a conversation about the impact of 700 fans and 700 fans only being at this game. What are you making of it, Ryan? The whole situation, I kind of wish Celtic were that and I'll stuff it to your fucking tickets back. But here we are, 700 will be there. 700 can try and make a lot of noise, mate. They can try and do something, but ultimately, it's not ideal. How are you feeling?
It's not, but I think it's a starting point. It's better than none. I know we'd much rather just say stuff it. We don't want that terrible allocation, but it is better than nothing. It will be good to have some fans in there. They could be there at the end of the match. Everyone else is gone and they're making the most noise, so that'd be a positive for me. I wish I was one of the 700 going, but obviously not.
Very difficult. Very, very difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy I'm going to the semi-final though. So.
Yeah, I'm happy I was in the ballot for that as well, mate. I can't tell you the nerves that were going through my body. See, when I just seen the tweet come down at the bottom of my screen, and it was like, tickets are now out for the semi-final. I was like, oh my god, right, this is it. And I was like,
that queue's horrible, isn't it?
In the queue, the sinking feeling of God, because I think I might have explained this on another podcast or something a while ago, but basically, I sit with Kieran Auld and my pal David, and over the past few years in the ballots, Kieran missed one for the Hearts treble final, and David missed one for the Rangers League Cup final. So I was sitting thinking to myself, this is it. This is my time. This is finally my shot to miss out in the ballot. But no, my 100% record still stands, and I will be there for Easter Sunday. Easter Sunday, I will be there. Right, let's get in our next call then. It is, in fact, David, who we're going to bring onto the call now. David, mate, how you doing?
Good, mate. Yourself?
Getting there, mate. Getting there. I'm just slowly waiting for Sunday to kind of come along, but we'll get there. So, talking about Sunday, mate, I'll just open the floor for you. What you want to talk about?
Yeah, I just want to talk about like the build up to the game, and like a couple of decisions that we should go with.
Okay, nice. Okay, let's bring in the decision. Bring in the decisions you want to speak about, then, mate. What's the first one?
I think like the main one, I think it's kind of on my mind is like, do we go with Yakimakis or Kyogo? I always like, you've heard that Kyogo could be back.
Mm-hmm.
I would say Yakimakis. So I would, and my reason for that would be Like, I think he's shown it, so he has the past few games. Like, he scored against Dundee, so he did. Like, when I don't think we're at our best to get a late winner there, and he's just been vital. He scored a couple of other goals as well. Like, compared to like when he came in, missed the penalty against Livy and did the start half the best. Like, he's really settled in, and he's shown like what he can do. And Kyogo, like, I love the guy, right? But I just think he's been out for months. I have a bad feeling to play him again. Like, I didn't think what will happen, and it's just like a big game. No getting again, bring him off the bench or that. But like, I think I'd go with Yakimakis. I think he's deserved the starting place and get a crack. What do you two think?
A lot of good points there, David made a lot of really good points. Ryan, let's kind of open up on, there's two really good ones to pick up on there, both the improvement of Giacomakis and the confidence we've seen in him, but also the risk of Kyogo coming back too early. McGinley, you touched on it the other day. Another sort of hamstring injury or such would be disastrous for Kyogo, for example, Ryan.
Yeah, that's the reason why I would keep him on the bench and use him sparingly, if at all. Might even just use him for like a psychological advantage. If we don't need to use him, that'd be absolutely perfect, because it means that the game's over and we've won. That would be absolutely ideal. Yakimakis, you've got to trust the man. The man scored, 11 goals since the turn of the year?
Yeah, 11 goals since the absence of Kyogo, I believe.
That's incredible. He really has stepped up. And we talk about him improving, but I think he's just the player that we've signed now. It was difficult because he never had a pre-season with Venlo. He was always playing catch-up. He had those... Remember he was training. We saw pictures of him training for like weeks on end. We're like, when are we going to see this guy? But even then, he wasn't fully fit when he came into the team. That winter breaks really, really helped his case. He's came back and he's not stopped scoring. Fair play to him. He looks to have lost a bit of weight as well. I think they talked about 7 kilos or something that he'd lost.
Wow.
I don't know if he's lost that or he's put it in muscle, because he still looks like an absolute tank. Mm-hmm. And some of his performances have been tremendous. I hope if he plays the same way that he done against Rangers at home, then I think he'll get a couple of goals, because he was so unlucky that night.
Yeah, yeah, David, you brought up a point, of course, of how, to start the season against Livy, for example, the penalty miss and how that was, how he's changed from then. This is a guy right now that we really were banking on improving, getting more confidence and really hoping for the best. It would be quite kind of contradictory of us, David, if we were to suddenly drop him when he is playing well, after wanting him to play well for so long. Do you think Giacomakis would be let down by being dropped, David?
Look, there's loads of tough decisions that are going to be made between now and Sunday. No doubt the way things have been going, there'll be about 20 injuries or something. You know what I mean? It's been very times for us, right? But I think we gave Giacomakis stick. Now I include myself in this. Like, after the Hibs game in January, I even said, one game he'll play well, the next game because he didn't look too consistent at the start, as McGinley said. He didn't have much of a pre-season, and his fitness wasn't the best, right? We were kind of criticising him, and fair dues, right? But he stepped in when Kyogo's left. Mm-hmm. That's it. No one left when Kyogo's injured. He stepped in when Kyogo got injured, and I don't think he's really put much effort. I think took him a couple of games to settle, but once he settled, the past few weeks, as we've seen, we really know he has settled in. He's been one of our best performers in the past few weeks. Jota, he's had a couple of games well. And Yakimakis, he stepped in when we've needed him. And as I said, when I just came on to the call, he's gave us big moments, like that Dundee one. So I think he's earned his place. We've gave him the stick. Now it's time to give him a game against Rangers and see what he can do at Ibrox.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the interesting stat as well is, you're looking at a guy who scored 2 hat-tricks in his last 2 home starts. Now, that's a statistic in itself that really shows that, why should we drop a player on that sort of form at the moment? He's been incredible. I'm a big fan of him. He's probably, at the moment, one of my favourite, if not my favourite outfield player at Celtic. I'm really enjoying watching him. You said there was a few things you wanted to talk about in terms of decisions and such. David, what else do you want to talk about?
The other kind of thing I'm thinking, it's not so much team selection and such, but it's more how we should play. I was listening to it before, obviously, I came on, and we're talking about what if Rangers get the early goal, no like Mahid stroke, and that is one of kind of fierce set pieces they scored to the set piece in August, didn't they?
Yeah, that's right.
So, and we're terrible with set pieces. Let's just be blunt about it.
Very simply put, terrible.
Aye. So, but I think we go attacking. There's because you've got that decision: do you sit back and be defensive, and do you be a bit cautious, or do you just simply go for it? I think we need we seen at the game in February there, that we kind of killed Rangers off in the first half. We've been doing that to other teams in the league, and I'm not saying they're anywhere near as the quality of Rangers, but that's what we've been doing. Generally, if we get the goal in the first half, we seem to be kind of safe most of the time. But if we don't, then we kind of seem to struggle a wee bit, and then. So I'd like to see us maybe go out and attack them like we did in the last derby. We get out and attack them, and I think if we get a goal or two in that first half, then I think we're in for a good day if we start well.
Yeah, it could be a really good day. And McGinley, let's touch on that point there that was kind of brought up as well. You know, if, say, Celtic were to concede the first goal of the game or was concede a set piece or something, this is a Celtic side that I think have shown on a couple of occasions over the course of the season, we're good at responding. I think there's been a couple of games that really stood out in terms of responding, and it's got better as the seasons went on. I think that if we go down in this game, again, like there's no real overwhelming worry for me. I think that it depends obviously what time, you go 1-0 down with 10 minutes to go, then of course that's a bad situation. But you go 1-0 down 20 minutes into the game, I'm confident in this Celtic side to kind of find their footing and get something out of the game.
Yeah, they've shown they can work through adversity, which is absolutely brilliant. But it shows that last season, the pain of last season has been washed off in a lot of them, because even if we do go a goal down, we're all right in games most of the time. Last season, you seen us crumble after we conceded a goal, which was an absolute nightmare. How many drop points did we get due to losing a goal early on or late on in a game? It just goes back to Ange Postecoglou. It's the way we're playing. The players believe in this. They believe in the way that Ange wants to play, and they're willing to put their bodies on the line to get the results, whether they're nothing each or 1-0 down. It's a great place to be when you know that even a goal down, we've still got a chance to come back and get something from the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And David, as I've done with everybody else, I've got to ask the big question at the end. Your overall thoughts, your final thoughts, and your score prediction, mate, for this game on Sunday.
Well, listen, derbies are always usually kind of like 50-50. And I think there's a very good chance we could win, a very good chance of a draw, and a very good chance of nothing happening. But I think it's one of the ones where, as I just said a couple of minutes ago, if we get an early goal, first 20 minutes, even first half, we're 1 or 2 up half time, then I think we go and win 4 or 5. I think that we are the one with the confidence, right? Rangers, I don't think they've got much confidence about them. They've not been great. You've seen that first half against Dundee. They played well in the 2 games against Dortmund. Apart from that, I've not really seen too much good performances from them. 5-0 against Hearts as well. But in the other one, as I said, our set pieces, we don't defend set pieces well. And also, the way derbies are, if we concede that goal, then we don't even get the goal. If it comes to half time, it's 0-0, and then I'll start to get a wee bit worried, a wee bit panicky. Rangers grow into the game, get a couple of corners or that, a couple of free kicks, then before you know it, that could be us losing. So, yeah. But I think if I had to give a prediction right now, I'm going to play it a wee bit safe, and I'm going to say 2-0 Sellik.
2-0. Nice. I've had a few 2-0s tonight. I'd take it. Listen, a 2-0 would put me over the moon. I'd be having a few drinks if we won 2-0 on Sunday, I tell you.
Don't blame you.
Well, do you know what, David? Fantastic call, mate. A lot of really, really good points. I hope you enjoyed the game on Sunday, mate. And if we ever do this again, feel free to come back on, mate.
Definitely. Thanks for having me, and I'd love to come back on again soon. Have a nice night. Cheers for having me on.
No worries, mate. Thanks very much. Catch you after. Right, I just cut him off there. I feel bad. I was about to say catch you, and I was just like, nope, no getting to say it. You can fuck off. But that was David. Very good call from David there, actually, and raising a lot of good questions in terms of how this game could be approached if goals fall at certain points and this, that, the next thing. It's something we've not really spoke about, is the losing feeling, because something that Celtic don't do very. Yeah, Celtic don't do it that often nowadays, Ryan. They don't seem to lose. They don't seem to be having that losing feeling, and it's just fantastic. And I think, if we do win this game on Sunday, it's going to be one of the most jubilant victories since Brendan Rodgers was in charge anyway. The atmosphere around the club will be absolutely radiant, and I think that's just a real testament to everything that this squad has achieved, right?
Yeah, I'm so proud of this team. Regardless of what happens from now until the end of the season, I'm really proud of the team and how they've conducted themselves this season. Obviously, I'd be disappointed if we don't finish the job, but when you look at where we were at the start of the season, when we were having to bring in, when Gavin Strachan and Kennedy were taking the training because Ange couldn't get in, or we didn't even have a manager at that point, to think where we are now, we're actually challenging for this title, and we're probably the favourites for the title now. It's incredible. I'm just so proud of the way that the players have conducted themselves. And I've got a real connection to this team of players. I don't know about you, but I really, really want this team to do well. Obviously, I do. I'm a Celtic fan, but even more so, I really do enjoy, like, even with the players connecting with each other on Instagram and stuff, commenting on each other. I love it. I just love the camaraderie of the team, the players. I'm just loving it. I just hope they finish it on Sunday. I hope they finish the job off.
Yeah, I would love to. And, on the flip side of that as well, you've got a Celtic side who, I think even if we lost the game on Sunday, I think, it will be very easy to get dragged down and caught up in the whole, we're going to bottle this sort of thing. But I'm really hoping that this is a group of supporters, the vast majority of us anyway, who will still rally behind the team and push and push and push. We still have a goal difference advantage. We'll still be tied at the top of the table. It's about staying headstrong and taking every challenge as it comes, right? But yeah, let's get our final caller on for this evening. And it's someone who's been on before, and it's a good friend of the channel himself. We're going to bring in Paddy. Paddy, mate, it's good to have you back on the phone in. Your second appearance, I believe, on the Sellik the Thunder phone in. So it's good to have you, mate. How you feeling?
I can't hear you, lads.
I can't hear.
Have you, mate? How you feeling?
Well,
I can't hear you.
He can't hear us. What an absolutely brilliant opening. Right, let's see. We'll take him out and let him see if he can fix it. Right, we'll see if I don't know if he can hear us. Do you know what the worst part is? Right, he's been sitting there this whole time. I've seen Paddy throughout the show, just sitting in the wee lobby, listening in, enjoying a wee bit of food, waiting for his time and his opportunity. And then we suddenly bring it. I don't know if he's been able to hear us this whole time, but suddenly he's not been able to be heard. That is brilliant. That's comedy gold. But we'll let him get back in the moment. I think he's a way to fix something. He has said try again, but we'll give him a moment. We'll see if we can get him back on and back into the stream. That's the thing, right? We know this all too well from the days of doing Zoom, from the days of doing all these podcasts. Technical issues are never easy to deal with. Right, I see him back down there at the bottom. We're going to. He's giving us a thumbs up, so we're going to try again. There he is. There's Paddy there. Paddy, can you hear us now?
What's happening, lads? How are you? Hey, look, it's live. These things happen.
Yeah, the day, mate, it's live. Anything can happen live. We know that's the story of show business. How you doing, mate? It's good to have you back on again. I said earlier when you couldn't hear us, but I think this is your second or third appearance now.
Third. That's right.
Third, fantastic. Yeah, these the most appearances for the show. Fantastic. Well, we'll just jump right into it, mate, because there's so much to talk about. We've already spoken about a lot. We've got a good wee segment as well. Hopefully, you might get involved in. But what's your thoughts on Sunday, mate?
It's Sunday. I'm kind of in two minds. I feel like it could be a stalemate 0-0 because we always get one, but at the same time, I'm thinking 6-7-0 if we turn up in 4th, 5th gear.
6 or 7 now. That is bold.
I'm really confident. Like, I'm really in two minds. Like, 1 minute I'm like, they're there for the take and the league's ours. We beat them on a Sunday. We're on the league. But then the other side of me is like 0-0.
What are you saying, McGinley?
Johnny Kenny with all 7 goals.
Johnny Kenny with all 7 goals. I mean, imagine it just rises from that injury he's picked up and bang, right onto the park. 6 or 7 then. Okay, wow, bang, you blew me away straight from the start. What's making you feel so confident? Just how well we've been playing recently, Paddy?
Just overall how we've been playing recently, and even if you look at our last goal from, if it wasn't for Alan McGregor, like, realistically, it should have been 6 or 7. And if we turn up in that, it doesn't matter if they have 58,000 in there or not. Angie, I think, has drilled into the team that it doesn't matter what's external. It's just what we do internally on the pitch. So I don't think the players are too phased. I think this team in particular are not too phased. about atmosphere or stadium, because we all know, like, when we go to Ibrox and Derby Day, like, they bring the noise as we do, bring the thunder, no pun intended. But no, I'm just confident, and I think Angie has these boys well drilled and well able for it. I think we'll properly confident, Paddy, and saying that we'll do them, and then kind of proceed with cautions 0-0, because it can go two ways.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, you've made yourself a fan. Everybody in the chat is absolutely loving it. Like, get in, love this guy. But the question is, I've got to ask you now, are you actually on the Guinness, Paddy?
No, I'm not.
I
actually just left. So that whole time you were talking, I'm going to get shot by my college. I had a live lecture muted while I was listening to you. So
I applaud that, mate. Well done. McGinley will tell you right now, I'm the exact same anyway, so you're no judgment of me. Right, okay.
We know about me and muting lectures. Lectures.
Oh, that's right. Aye. He's had a couple of howlers with no muting his mic, and he's went and played videos or whatever, and it's been quite funny. But okay, Paddy, let's talk a bit more about the game then, or whatever. To get these hopeful goals of yours, what you thinking into just anything at all? It could be team selection, whatever. Any other points from the game that you want to bring up?
I just think, like, as I said, everybody, there's no, like, the last few games, nobody's played poorly. Like, trying to pick someone that's played bad, I think, like, even at worst, you're looking at an 8 rating for a game. Like, even, was it the last game before the international, Taylor's been playing well, and I think he's a scapegoat, and then Starfelt has really settled into that back line as well. Like, I think, in my opinion, this is one of the best back lines we had in years, and one of my opinions is we should be focusing on signing Jota, but rather than Vickers, because it's very hard to find a solid centre back when you're Celtic, because you always seem to have a liability at the back. But in terms of wingers, there's plenty out there. So I think the back line, I think the back line's solid, and I think the fact that they're not afraid to go forward, and even again with Taylor, he's getting more confidence in overlapping and running and trying his best. And even if you look at Scales, the games he's played, his crossing and going forward, again, he lacks a little bit of pace, and I don't think he'll get the nod on Sunday. But you can just see overall, every week in, week out, our team is getting better and better. And what Rangers are doing in Europa this season, I can see Angie taking us to maybe a quarter-final or semi-final next season if we keep building the way we're doing. And I think when Angie was announced, when we done a live, and I was so optimistic. And I was saying we're going to sign League of Ireland players, and Angie's going to take us. And it's thankfully happened. So I'm just up in life being a Celtic fan at the moment. It's just, you can't ask. And again, all eyes are on Scottish football because of how tight it is.
Exactly. You know, there's a massive kind of audience now for this kind of last run into the season. Few games left. It could go either way. A lot of good points there. And of course, the League of Ireland stuff as well. You have got a little bit of your wish granted with the likes of Scales and now Kenny coming into the team. Ryan, you were sat there that whole time as if you were ready to join in with something. A lot of good points brought up by Paddy there. What are you thinking?
I'm just loving the positivity. I'm loving that. Any positive talk about Starfelt, my man Starfelt, is always welcomed. I love that guy. I would die for Starfelt. I'm just hoping that one of those. What was the prediction? Was it 6 or 7? You said. I'm hoping one of those.
I want to steal now. 6.
6. Okay, I'm hoping at least one of them is Starfelt. I'm desperate for him to break his duck. And if he was to do it at Ibrox, he would just enter a whole new man love with me and Starfelt, I swear. But I think the guy he's actually been outperforming. I wrote about this. He's been outperforming Carter Vickers the past month or so. I think he's been absolutely sensational. He's passing, playing from the back. He's picking his battles as well, which is really good. He's not making as many mistakes. He maybe has maybe one mistake every 2 or 3 games, which is absolutely brilliant for us. And he's just dominating defences now. He's dominating attacks now, which is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, very good points. And Starfelt as well, as you know, I'm a big Starfelt fan as well. I think we've got 3 Starfelt fans in the call.
You put him in the B column. You put him in the B column.
Well, listen, don't pick. I had to separate allegiances and be real about things. I knew a lot of people wouldn't have enjoyed me putting them in B, but listen, that's for another day. The backline, Paddy, you touched on Taylor, and Ryan made a really interesting point earlier about Taylor building a sort of relationship on that left hand side, and you brought up, of course, the point that sometimes he is a kind of scapegoat for some people. I think recently, as you've already kind of mentioned, you'd be kind of harsh to find yourself in that scenario because he has been good, he's been better, Paddy, and I think that's the kind of trust that Ange just put in him, shining through his game there.
Yeah, definitely. It's obviously he doesn't give cuddles as we all hear about, but you can kind of hear about the fact that even watching him play, he's obviously Angie's talking to the players and saying you're more than capable of, believe in yourself, run forward, overlap, get the crosses in. Obviously, there's been conversations between players and just even the whole morale on the pitch from head to toe, even the players on Instagram and social media bantering each other off and the stories and everything. I just think overall, I think the confidence kind of comes not only within, but the whole group environment. Obviously, Taylor might be talking to say Josip, and Josip's don't just go for it. Just obviously little conversations that we don't hear about. And I think that's probably helping Taylor in terms of just being in a really good, positive environment in comparison to last season, which I think helps the players a lot as well. I just feel like we're all in this together, and Taylor knows if he makes a mistake, then we all make a mistake, kind of. So I just think there's just, I don't know how, I was having a conversation with a few of my mates. I think there's just something in the air at Celtic at the moment, and especially in those players, that there's just confidence oozing left, right, and centre.
Yeah, I'd be very much. I think I'd be off my head to disagree with you, to be quite honest. I think you're spot on about it. And you mentioned Juranovic there. I know, Ryan, this is a shock for you, Ryan, because you haven't actually mentioned his name once throughout this entire stream. Yeah, you've not mentioned him at all, your guy. But Paddy's obviously touched on him there. Do you think he's helped Greg Taylor in becoming a better player as well? You know, the two of them are the fullbacks. Do you think there's been a kind of a joint sort of attempt there at being the best it can be?
Yeah, I mean, did you see their Instagram the other day?
Aye, seen that.
Juranovic, he just meows, and we love him. We love him for it. He's a weirdo right back. We absolutely love him to bits. It's so good that the two of them are playing well. I think there is a good wee relationship between the two of them, and it's best for the team. But you've got to shout out Ralston though as well. He was so important in the early part of the season. He took Ange's instructions and worked to the best of his abilities. The two of them did, Taylor and Ralston. So there's a real sort of union between all the fullbacks, which is really, really good. And I hope that continues with new players in the summer. Yeah.
Right, okay. I'm going to ask a big question here, Paddy. Now, the question is, would you like to take part in our Beat the Pundit style quiz, our Bertie Auld themed quiz? We do have the graphic with us, I believe, on screen. Give me a moment. Would you like to take part in the Select the Thunder, but can they play quiz, mate? Would you like to take on Ryan McGinn?
Why not?
Hey.
Why? If this goes off later on and my mates watch this, the WhatsApp's going to go off later. I'm not going to hear it. I'm going to delete social media if this goes wrong.
Listen, mate, there's no need to worry. I'm sure you can do it. But as always say, tribute to the late great Bertie Auld as well. But can they play? The famous quote from 1967. So we're going to find. You can talk a good game, Paddy, but we are going to find out if you can play. Now, before I take Ryan out of the call and before he's away listening to his Clyde 2 or whatever they do on that, I'm going to say this, right? Our pundits have got right now an undefeated record. So Ryan McGinley has won 1. Kieran Auld has won twice. We are currently 3-0 up against the viewers. No one has yet beat the pundit. So this could be...
That's fun for the viewers.
This is for the viewers. Absolutely fantastic. So, McGinley, I'm going to trust that you're not going to listen in. I'm going to take you out of the call. Hopefully, you're not cheating.
I'll put on the private chat as well, because I know people will be answering the comments.
Yes, of course. Right, so that's good. McGinley won't have a clue. McGinley, I'll give you a wee message when it's time for you to come back into the stream, and I'll let Paddy answer the 10 questions first. So we'll see you very soon, McGinley. Right, okay, we'll take him out there. So it's just me and you, Paddy. I've got 10 questions here. You're going to have a chance to answer all 10 of them. Are you ready, mate?
Aye, yeah.
Right, good stuff. Right, here we go. Let's start then. Name the last Celtic player to score in a victory at Ibrox. So not the last game at Ibrox, the last victory at Ibrox.
That 27, 16, 17. The last player to score. I want to say Odson Edward.
You're close. He was scored in the same game, but it's actually Johnny Hayes scored in the 90th minute, if you remember. 2-0, your countryman. Johnny Hayes, you're close. So same game, right? Okay, it's not bad. We can pull us back, right? Question 2. How many Celtic players got minutes last night in Scotland's friendly against Austria?
How many minutes?
How many players got minutes? So how many appeared? Did any come on? Whatever, etc. Any players that played last night?
I didn't follow any of the football last night, so this is off of them. I'm going to say Taylor played, so I'm going to say yeah.
Oh, zero, mate. Zero, none. Taylor, nor McGregor, none of them came on. That's a harsh one for you because it's a Scotland question. I feel really bad. I see everybody, this one sums it up. Who cares? Who cares? It's fine. We've got 8 more. Let's try and aim for 8. Right. How many passed and... Oh, Christ. Matthew Duff, who makes the quiz, has done you dirty here because there's a couple of Scotland questions. But he's asked the question, how many past and present Celtic players were in the squad for Scotland last night? So how many past or present? Yes.
Craig Gordon.
Right, he's one. There you go.
Does that include the bench?
It includes the bench. Full squad. Full squad.
Does this include I'm looking in detail, and this does include academy players as well, does it?
Yes, this includes academy, but I think you're lucky in the sense that every one of the players has appeared at senior level. There's none that have just disappeared. It's like they've all appeared. Well, he said including youth academy, right? But he's not included the likes of Andy Robertson here. So
that's what I'm thinking.
Sorry. It's my bad. My bad. I can't read. Not including youth academy. My apologies. Not including youth academy. My bad. I can't read. Not including youth academy then. So there you go.
Not kidding. I'm between 6 and 8. Let's say 8.
You still went down the middle, mate. It's 7. So close. You still went down the middle. So the correct answer, we'll get a lot of cases in here. It's 12, 9, 6, 6. So we've got a correct answer there from Colin. But the correct answer would be Callum McGregor and Greg Taylor, obviously. They're the 2 current Celtic players. Kieran Tierney, Craig Gordon, Ryan Christie, Stuart Armstrong, and Jack Hendry. There is your 7. But let's move on. We'll go into the next question. Ex-Cel Jackson Irvine now plays for which European club?
FC St. Pauli.
Correct. There you go. There's our first correct answer. Let's get it rolling now. Question 5. Who is the last player at Celtic to have a surname starting with the letter V? So V for...
Van Dijk, surely.
Yes, correct. There you go. 2 questions right now. We're cooking with gas. Right. How many goals did Celtic youngster Ben Doak score for Scotland under-17s against Georgia
3.
last night? 3 is correct. Well done. How many different colours are used in Celtic's Pinstripe third kit?
4. 3 to 4. Oh, hold on. There's green, there's like a pink, there's like a tinted red. There's white. I'll say 4.
It's 3 apparently. So the 3 colours are dark green, white, and pink. That's apparently it. I'm taking the answer he's given me. So you're still on 3, but it's fine. We have a chance to get up to 6. So which other country, other than Japan, has Dyson Maeda played his football in? What other countries?
Oh, he played in Portugal, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Well done. Question number 9. You're on 4 just now. Let's get the last 2 right. Goalkeeper Ross Doohan is currently on loan at which English League 2 side?
Tranmere, is it?
Yes, it is. It is Tranmere. Tranmere's correct.
O'Connor signed for them, didn't he?
Yes, that's it. And your final question is, who scored Celtic's first goal of the calendar year? It was against Hibs at Celtic Park. Who scored the first goal of the calendar year?
I want to say the obvious and go Kyogo.
It wasn't Kyogo. He was out injured, remember. So It was actually Dyson Maeda. He scored in his debut.
Oh,
at
I was going
Celtic
September.
Park.
Oh, I didn't. I was going September.
You've got to listen to the question, Paddy, son. You've got to listen to the question. But you pulled that back well at the end there. You've got yourself 5 just now. And there are some tricky questions. So we're going to bring McGinley back in to see if
Scotland
he
one
can
was a red card.
beat
Scotland,
5.
the Scotland questions.
I know, it's so unlucky that it had to be you. So there's McGinley just chilling. He's not even there. There he is. He's going to turn this back up. So you couldn't hear us there, McGinley, could you? We can't hear you now either. You've got to unmute your mic as well.
I don't know why I missed myself.
Right, well that's it. Paddy's given his performance. Now it's your turn to try and beat his score. Are you ready, Ryan McGinley?
All good, mate. All good.
Okie dokie. Right, start off with question 1. Who was the last Celtic player to score in a Celtic victory at Ibrox?
At Ibrox. Johnny Hayes.
Johnny Hayes is correct. He's off to a good start, Johnny Hayes. How many Celtic players got minutes last night in Scotland's friendly in Vienna?
How many players get minutes? 0.
That is 0, correct. He's off to a 2 start. How many past and present Celtic players were in the squad for Scotland last night, not including Youth Academy?
Not including Youth Academy, right. I need to go through them, right. Gordon, Tierney, or Youth Academy, so not Robertson. Gordon.
Tick-tock.
No, you need to let me... Calmac, Armstrong, Taylor. I'm gonna go 7.
Oh, he's just Paddy's face. He's just got it. He's got it. It's 7 indeed. You got it right. McGregor, Taylor, Tierney, Gordon, Christie, Armstrong and Hendry. So right now you're on 3 out of 3. Very well done so far, McGinley. Question 4. Ex-Celt Jackson Irvine now plays for which European club?
Oh my god, I know this. And I forgot. St. Pauli.
Oh, I thought you were going to miss it there with Paddy's face. Right, 4 out of 4 so far. Who was the last player at Celtic to have a surname that started with the letter V?
Does this include B team? No.
No, doesn't include B team. Has to have played for a senior
Right.
appearance.
Oh.
Tick-tock.
I'm trying to go through every single odd player that we've had. I'm gonna just go Vata.
Virgil van Dijk, mate.
Oh
Virgil
my
van Dijk. Paddy got that instantly. Right, okay. 4 out of 5 so far. How many goals did Celtic youngster Ben Doak score for Scotland under-17s against Georgia last night?
2.
No, it's not 2. It's 3. It's 3. He scored a hat-trick. Yeah, he scored a hat-trick.
I only kept up to it.
Oh, well, McGinley, you floundered a wee bit here. You floundered a little bit, but we've still got 4 questions, right? Still got 4 questions. How many different colours are used in Celtic's Pinstripe third shirt?
Five.
It's only 3, mate. It's only 3. There's a white, there's the pink, and there's the dark green. So there you go. That's the 3 colour. Your eyes. No, the third shirt, the white pinstripe.
There's not black lines.
No, it's dark green. Oh, mate, listen, you've floundered a wee bit. You've got 3 more questions. You're on 4 out of 7 so far. Which other country, other than Japan, has Dyson Maeda played his football in?
Portugal.
Portugal is correct. You're on 5 out of 8. 2 more questions. Goalkeeper Ross Doohan is currently on loan at which English side?
Tranmere.
Oh, he's got it right. It's 6. It's 6. Right, okay, final question to see if you can get 7 out of 10. Who scored Celtic's first goal of the calendar year in 2022?
2022. Let me think. Who's off? It was my man, Maida.
Dyson Maida is correct. He scored against Hibs on that opening game of the year, which means, McGinley, you get a score of 7 out of 10. And this week, the winner is... Oh, when I say this week, we've not done this weekly, but the winner this time, to make it 4-0, the pundit has won. Well done, Ryan McGinley. A 7 out of 10 performance. Paddy only managed to get the 5 for his questions. But I said to Paddy, I felt really bad that there was like 2 or 3 Scotland questions in there when Paddy's not even Scottish. So it was a bit harsh for him. But Paddy, you can be proud of that effort, mate.
Yeah, no, to be fair, the football knowledge is not bad when you started on about the Jackson Irvine and stuff, because I still try to keep tabs of all the old boys, even Glenn Louvens at one point was at Sheffield Wednesday, I think.
That's right, aye.
Yeah, so I try to keep it, so that's not too bad. The Scotland questions now, the only reason I knew about Ben scoring his hat-trick was because of Lewis was tweeting about it. So that was what really helped me there. And that, but it was a really good quiz now.
How did I not get Van Dijk?
Yeah, I thought you would have got Van Dijk. I really did think you would have got him.
I know. I got St. Pauli though. That's the one I wanted to get.
Yeah, I thought you were going to mess that one up, but you managed to do it. Right, well, Paddy, that does it, mate. But before you go, I've got to ask, is your final prediction 6-0 then?
Yeah, 100%. Like,
100%.
If this goes wrong, let me be a meme. I don't care. Like, we're going to win the league at the end of the season. That's all that matters.
Good stuff, man. What a hero. Admire the confidence. Well, Paddy, I'm going to let you go now. Enjoy the game on Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your night. And hopefully, the next time we do one of these, we can make it 4 appearances for you on the show, mate.
100%. And you enjoy Sunday as well, lads.
Thank you very much, mate.
Hopefully.
Right, take care. Right, hopefully. See you after, mate.
See you.
Right, what a pleasure it is to have Paddy on every single time. What a legend. What an absolute legend.
I was so worried I wasn't going to win that.
Aye. Mate, I thought you were bottling it. I thought you honestly. So when it got to the
I got about 4 questions right in a row. No, 5 in a row.
Yep. No, 4 in a row. You got 4 in a row. You got 4, and then you struggled, and then you crumbled. It's that seen a quote in the chat. Crumbled like a fish supper for a wee bit, and it was looking a bit worrying. But you managed to pull through. You managed to be strong. Aye, well done, McGinley. You've made it 4-0 for the pundits. Next time, I'll need to try and see if I can contribute to the score to see if I can get the pundits or such. But yeah, that about does it, mate. That's us at the end of the show. An hour and a half of utter shite, but we've managed to do it anyway. No, but listen, what a call in. I've enjoyed bringing this back, and hopefully next season when I'm doing YouTube full time, it's something that we can explore more regularly. It's good to have the opinions of other people on, and Absolutely. If it's different or the same or whatever, it's always a good laugh. McGinley, what do you take away from tonight, mate?
We're in a good place. Our support is in a positive place. And we're all feeling pretty good about ourselves just now. Hopefully that'll be the same come Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, I'm buzzing. Right, well, that'll do it. Ladies and gents, thank you all for watching. A fantastic amount of viewers throughout the entire show. We'll be back with our flagship podcast on Friday night. That'll be released. We'll be in the studio tomorrow to try and cover all the things that we maybe didn't touch on tonight. And obviously we'll have Kieran Auld as well to get his thoughts. Always interesting to see what Kieran's saying. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Make sure to hit like and subscribe if you've been listening on Spotify or any other streaming services. Please make sure to follow the show and give us a positive rating, a 5-star rating, or whatever you can. But yeah, that'll about do us. McGinley, I'm going to roll the intro one more time and let the music play out. So thanks for joining me, and we'll see you all next time.